his first run when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. I liked him back then when he left and then came back. And Bret Hart made him cry, and he did I quit. And then came back, won the Royal Rumble, got beat by Daniel Bryan, quit again. So, like I said, I'll get into my WrestleMania predictions, but I'm pretty sure you guys can piece together who I'm going to be pulling for in that match. Moving on, Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal in a lumberjack match. Apollo Crews and Jinder Mahal fought with many of their expected competitors watching the competition outside the ring. Apollo Crews would end up hitting a frog splash for the win. Afterwards, a fight broke out between the competitors. Titus O'Neil looked good before getting taken down by Mahal and the Singh brothers, who were thrown out by Crews, who stood tall on his own. And this is another one that I'm going to say Apollo Crews doesn't need Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil is absolute garbage. Apollo Crews lining himself with the likes of Titus, trip and fall and slide down the ramp and under the ring. O'Neil has never been that good. I mean, he had the potential at one point to be a really solid mid-carder, but he has cemented his place in the jobber, top jobber Hall of Fame. We saw him at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Like I said, he tripped and slid under the ring, made a fool of himself. The Titus Worldwide did absolutely nothing but drag Apollo Crews and Dana Brooke down. Chad Mincher said he is a great ambassador for the sport, and that he may be. He does a lot of good charity work. I'm not taking anything away from him as a person. I read an article a while back that there was a family in a restaurant. They were struggling to pay the check, and he ended up paying the whole check for him. And he's a really good guy outside the ring, but as a competitor in the ring, he's just not that good. I would give this match a D+, D-. It just wasn't that good of a match. Up next, Rey Mysterio would come to the aid of Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin. Kurt Angle came out to thank the fans for their support over the years before a special video package was shown highlighting his spectacular career. However, Baron Corbin didn't want to hear any of that as he ruined the moment by insulting the legend. The Olympic gold medalist challenged Corbin to fight him early, but Baron Corbin, as expected, showed no interest in getting in the ring with Mr. Kurt Angle. It's true. It's damn true. Rey Mysterio changed the conversation as he ran out and said he would fight Baron Corbin instead. The Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle would send Baron Corbin running at the idea of fighting, and we saw Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio sharing a moment in the ring. They had some absolutely phenomenal matches together, and during that segment, Rey Mysterio would actually injure himself. Chad Mincher just popped in the chatty and said it as well. He actually rolled his ankle, so his status for WrestleMania at this point is unlikely. I believe he was set to face Cien Andreas or Andrades, whatever they're calling him now, since WWE likes cutting people's names in half. Moving on, the Raw Tag Team Championships were on the line as the Revival took on Aleister Black and Ricochet. The Revival showcased its best tactics, trying to survive the power and speed of Black and Ricochet. While Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder were clearly outmatched throughout this match, they stayed in it just long enough to pull out a victory. After a scuffle outside, Scott Dawson managed to catch the leg of Ricochet as he tried to return to the ring to fight Wilder, forcing a count-out victory for the champions. Afterwards, Aleister Black and Ricochet would show their frustration by hitting the Revival with the 630 splash on Dawson. And man, that 630 splash by Ricochet is a thing of beauty. I would give this match a B+. It was a decent tag team match, but the ending made it worth it for me. Hashtag FTR, fuck the Revival. There's actually talks of them leaving pretty soon, and I say good riddance. The Revival was pretty decent in NXT, but since making the jump to the main roster, they really haven't done much. Yes, they are the tag team champions, but they haven't really been that impactful as champions. And I absolutely can't stand the Revival at this point. So, like I said, hashtag FTR. If they want to go, good riddance. And to close out Monday Night Raw, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair would go against the Riot Squad. Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch were all interviewed backstage, promising they would not be the first to flinch. I believe there was a stipulation placed on it that if they ended up fighting each other during the match, that the person who initiated it would be removed from the WrestleMania match. While tempers flared often during the match, they did not turn on one another. A blind tag from Ronda Rousey allowed her into the match to make Liv Morgan tap out pretty damn quick to the armbar. As the bell rang, the baddest woman on the planet would then attack Charlotte, and starting an all-out brawl. Security had to come out to calm the situation by detaining the women involved. Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch were both handcuffed, and Charlotte would then attack each of them until she was then restrained as well. Even in handcuffs, three were still trying to go at each other. Even it spilled over into the backstage. You saw when they were getting put into the cop car and stuff, they were still trying to hit each other. Charlotte hit Ronda Rousey with a big old knee while she was had her head out the cop car window. I give it an A-, man. They are building this match beautifully. A lot of people are talking shit about it, but honestly, I think this is the closest to Attitude Era competition we've seen in a long time. And I think ever since Survivor Series that they have been building this match very beautifully. I skipped a couple things. Finn Balor would announce that the return of the Demon would be happening at WrestleMania. Sorry, I'm choking on my words here. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush showed up, and Finn Balor appeared on the Titantron, revealing he was bringing back the Demon for WrestleMania. A segment wasn't really that good, and they could have used the Demon persona when he went up against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. They didn't do it then. Why they're wasting it on Bobby Lashley now, I have no idea. So there was a couple other segments, but nothing really worth noting. I'm going to go ahead and move Excuse me. Going to move into the Smackdown results. Like I said, I'm on a bit of a limited time here, so I'm getting ready to head to California tomorrow. So I'm trying to get through some of these results kind of quickly. I apologize if I'm talking a little too fast. But going into the Smackdown results, the Kevin Owens show with Randy Orton and AJ Styles would kick off the show. Ahead of their showdown at WrestleMania, AJ Styles and Randy Orton joined Kevin Owens on the Kevin Owens show to kick off this week's edition. A pretty short-lived back and forth gave way to a brawl, but not before Kevin Owens would bail out of the ring on his own show. AJ Styles attempted a phenomenal forearm, but Orton caught him with the RKO out of nowhere, laying him in the center of the ring. Randy Orton stood tall to close out the segment. I give it an A. There wasn't a lot of back and forth, overabundance of talking. It was short, sweet, and to the point. And this is a match I am definitely looking forward to. But moving on, the Usos, Aleister Black, and Ricochet would take on The Bar, Rusev, and Shinsuke Nakamura. The SmackDown Tag Team Division took center stage for the first match of SmackDown Live. It was pretty back and forth. The Usos, Black and Ricochet, would end up defeating The Bar. After the match, a brawl broke out, which led to Black and Ricochet standing tall to close out the ending of that match. Any match with Aleister Black and Ricochet, you know it's going to be good. Not a big fan of the Usos, but they worked really good together. I have no idea what WWE is doing with Shinsuke Nakamura. At this point, it seems like they're pretty much jobbing him and Rusev out. So, we'll definitely see what happens with them here in the future. There was talks that Shinsuke's contract is going to be up here pretty soon and that he is not going to be re-signing. There's actually talks of him heading back to New Japan, which I think would be the best place for him if he didn't retire. WWE, he did really good in NXT. He did have that short-lived WWE title run, but other than that, they have absolutely squandered his character. Moving on, the Iconics would address WrestleMania. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay made their way to the ring, ready to address their match for the women's tag team titles Sunday against Sasha Banks and Bayley, Natalya and Beth, and Tamina and Nia Jax. It was a pretty short promo with them promising an iconic championship win. Like I said, like Peyton Royce, Billie Kay gets on my nerves. I would give this segment a solid D. Then we would have a 3-on-1 handicap match, The Miz versus Sanity. The Miz cut a promo on Shane McMahon, calling WrestleMania his retribution. From there, the A-listers squared off with Sanity's Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young in a handicap match arranged by none other than Shane McMahon himself. The self-proclaimed best in the world made his presence felt watching from a distance up on the stage as The Miz fought against three of the most dangerous competitors that NXT had. On the main roster, they have been pretty much afterthoughts, and that would not change last night on SmackDown, fueled by